Binding to the elderly care system, experiencing ticket life, and being able to be calm and happy even in difficult times. Original storyline from all eras, different lives, different families, traveling through the same hot era. 1. In the 1960s, there were cars and houses, completed. 2. Magic City Shikumen. There are 7 fairies in the family, under update, keywords of the novel. Zhutian elderly care starts from the fiery era without pop-ups. Zhutian elderly care starts from the fiery era with full download of TXT. Zhutian elderly care starts from the fiery era with the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. What is the taste of long-term hunger? You are listening at novel full.audio. Chapter 1. What is the taste of long-term hunger? In 1959, Kyoto. Yu Wenshuan walked into the courtyard and saw several women washing clothes around the faucet. He took the initiative to say, "Aunt Wang and Aunt Zhao, you're doing laundry again today." Several women lifted their heads at the sound, and a handsome young man who was 1.8 meters tall and dressed in military uniform caught their eyes. Mrs. Wang first reacted and said, "Oh, isn't this Wenshuan? It's been several years since he came back, so you shouldn't be in a hurry to leave this time, right?" "I haven't come back for 4 years, so I won't leave this time. I have changed jobs, and from now on, I can see you every day," Yu Wenshuan said with a hearty laugh. "Why did you switch jobs now? You're already a promising young man in the army. It's a pity to come back." Aunt Wang was quite surprised when she heard the news. "A few years ago, when I was playing against Lao Mi, my brain was injured and I haven't been able to recover well. Recently, I fell into a coma a few times. We can't cause trouble for the team, can we? We can only switch jobs. This is really, what a great future for the army, it's a pity. But it's also good to come back and recuperate well. You're a Ingchang in the department and the team, and when you come back, you're also a dry cloth. You can't be worse anywhere." Zhao Auntie looked regretful. Yu Yunxian changed the topic and asked, "Auntie, today is Sunday. Is my dad at home?" "At home, we all rest today." "You're busy, I won't talk to you anymore," Yu Wenshuan said and continued walking towards the courtyard. Along the way, Yu Wenshuan met several old neighbors and warmly greeted them one by one. By the time he arrived at his doorstep, his father Yu Bingjiang, stepmother Fang Dahong, and younger brother Yu Wenhua had already been greeted by the sound. "Xuanzi, why didn't you make a phone call in advance so that I could go to the station to pick you up? You big and small, and your health is not good, so don't get tired at all." Yu Bingjiang, with an excited expression on his face, walked forward and wanted to carry his son's large and small bags of luggage. But 16-year-old Yu Wenhua acted faster than him and had already taken the lead in picking up the luggage from his second brother's hand, saying, I'll pick it up. My second brother's health is not good, so I'll take care of all the physical work at home in the future." Yu Wenshuan's big hand rubbed his little brother's head twice and said to his father, "Dad, I have a brain injury, not a physical problem. Carrying this luggage won't tire me." Having already arrived home, Yu Wenshuan did not compromise and allowed his younger brother and father to pick up all the luggage in their hands. Fang Dahong interjected, "If your brain is injured, you should take good care of it. You can't be tired. Hurry up and enter the house. We don't have tea at home, but we still have some brown sugar. I'll make you a bowl of brown sugar water to drink. I'm such a strong young man, there's no need to drink any brown sugar water. It's not much at all, let's keep it." Yu Wenshuan's tone was cold. He came through this morning and woke up lying on the sleeper of the train. Fortunately, he received all the memories of the original owner, so that his eyes did not darken. Yu Wenshuan's family is very complex, and the relationship between Fang Dahong, the stepmother, and his ex-wife's 4 children is extremely poor. They had already turned against each other many years ago. If it weren't for Fang Dahong giving birth to her youngest son Yu Wenhua, she would have been kicked out of the house long ago based on the things she had done before. After being away from home for so many years, Yu Wenshuan only returned 4 years ago, which was 5 years ago, and stayed at home for a total of 2 days. After returning last time, considering the family atmosphere, his relationship with Fang Dahong has slightly eased, and when necessary, he will also say a few words to avoid the situation being too embarrassing, but that's all. Fang Dahong remained as enthusiastic as ever, completely indifferent to Yu Wenshuan's cold attitude. She generously poured a large bowl of thick brown sugar water and brought it to him. Take advantage of the heat and drink quickly. It's already autumn and the weather is getting colder. Drink some brown sugar water to avoid catching a cold. Fang Dahong stood on the side, saying caring words to herself. Yu Wenshuan just glanced at her and ignored her. He said to his father, "Today is a day off, Yuxiu and Xiaoya. Why haven't you seen any of them?" Unfortunately, Yuxiu is on a business trip and won't be back for a few more days. Xiaoya is interning this week and won't be coming home. Yu Bingjiang's biggest concern is still his son's future work. Have you implemented your job at your new employer? This is a big deal, but we need to do it quickly. It has been implemented. As arranged by the head, the Human Resources Department of Dongfang Machinery Factory is at the 17th level of administration. Kyoto is classified as a 6. Class area, with a monthly salary of 99 and reporting before the end of the month. Yu Wenshuan replied. The salary difference is quite significant. If you hadn't changed jobs, your current monthly salary would be 135, plus 15% military age allowance, and you could earn 155 yuan per month, which is a difference of 56 yuan per month. No wonder people are unwilling to change jobs. Regardless of their future prospects, the salary gap is difficult to accept. Yu Bingjiang felt sorry for his son. My son has made military achievements and was even sent to a military academy. With achievements in education, and the care of a high-ranking official, his future prospects are bright. He is about to be promoted to deputy and junior high school, but unfortunately, he has health problems and must switch careers. The future prospects of this career change are hard to say. Yu Bingjiang felt a little regretful after saying these words. Isn't he poking his son's heart with such words? Quickly adding, of course, there are also benefits to transitioning, at least not safety. With your career change, even if our whole family is reunited, you have been away for more than 10 years. Our grandfather and I will be together for no more than 2 days, and we can see you at any time in the future, so we no longer have to worry. It's great. After the two brothers talked for a while, Yu Bingjiang said to his younger son, Wenhua, go out and ask who has cucumbers, and let's exchange 2 for sweet potatoes. Get on the horse dumplings and get off the horse noodles. Today, your second brother just came back, and we will make zhajiangmian. Yu Wenhua jumped 3 feet high and said, Great. It's been half a year since I have eaten zhajiangmian for a long time, right? I'm so greedy. Yu Wenshuan also swallowed involuntarily. At the thought of the taste of fried soy sauce noodles, his hunger became stronger, so that his stomach was burning with pain. He felt that if he didn't eat something quickly, his stomach would be digested by his own gastric juice. Of course, this is just an illusion. But this feeling of hunger is really unbearable. A person who has been in a state of hunger for a long time now has an unforgettable experience of how strong their body's thirst for food is. He couldn't understand how his predecessor persisted so willingly to this day, and he didn't even think it was bitter, just treating enduring hunger as a trivial matter. The military has a ration of 45 kilograms of food, although not too much, it is still barely enough to eat. But 2 months ago, his predecessor received a request for help from his comrade in arms. One of his hospitalized patients actually saved 20 pounds of food stamps per month and donated them to his comrade in arms. Being in a state of hunger for a long time, the original body didn't take it seriously, but his successor really can't bear it. The thought of these difficult days continuing for a long time made Yu Wenshuan's heart extremely bitter. Yu Wenhua was thin and dry, and his thirst for food was no less than that of Yuan Xuan. He turned his head to his father and asked with a hopeful expression, "Can I have a full bowl today?" "Sure." Yu Bingjiang agreed happily, "This month's white noodles haven't moved at all. We can all eat a big bowl. Your second brother just came home and needs to eat 2 bowls. Don't snatch them." Yu Wenhua felt that his father looked down on him and was not very happy. "Dad, I'm not a child anymore. How could I still compete with my second brother for food and drinks? My second brother just came back, so he can't have a full meal. Can he eat 2 bowls full?" The white noodles made from big white noodles are so full that they can't even fill 2 bowls. It's not like a barrel of rice. Who dares to make them like this? Second brother, just eat 1.5 bowls, and you can eat another half bowls. You're growing up and need to eat more. Yu Wenxuan is very clear about his appetite. 2 bowls of noodles are naturally not enough to eat, not to mention 2 bowls. Even if he doubles it, he will definitely not be able to eat enough. But in this year and age, there is no time to overeat. Everyone has a fixed amount, and eating must be based on the amount. Eat more for this meal, and eat less for the next. After being away from home for 4 years, today is his first meal after returning. His father had to do everything in his power to prepare this meal and make him eat a full meal. Fang Dahong happened to come in to pick up something and interjected, "Wenxuan, you don't need to save Wenhua food. Just a big bowl of white noodles is enough for him to enjoy. Today's fried sauce and meat are not old or young, they are full. Since you wrote a letter last month and learned that you were going to change jobs and go home, your father has been preparing for it. Last month's white noodles didn't move at all, they were all kept, and the meat from the second half of the month was also kept, all made into cured meat. Your dad said he ate it all today and won't keep it anymore. It's rare for you to come back and have a drink with your dad tonight. Your dad has prepared all the dishes for the drink, and there are 4 dishes. Your dad made 2 sausages, and I'll make you a steamed sausages, as well as scrambled eggs and chili fried meat, all of which are hard dishes. Your father also exchanged 8 pairs of peanuts from his friends, and I will make you a salted water peanut." Yu Wenxuan was quite moved in his heart and looked at his father, saying, "Dad, we can't live any longer. Would it be too luxurious to eat half a month's worth of pork at once? How extravagant. The ration of 3 people for half a month is only 6 liang meat. Today, we need to make zhajiangmian and a green pepper fried meat. This meat is barely enough. I originally exchanged a chicken for you, but last week Lao Yuan's daughter-in-law gave birth and didn't breastfeed. She begged me, so I had to give him that chicken. He exchanged 2 sausages for it, although it's not as nutritious as chicken, at least it can give you a bite of meat." Yu Bingjiang has put in a lot of effort to ensure that his son can have a good meal when he enters the house. Unfortunately, the supply is too tight now, and he can only do his best to achieve this level. "Dad, is the supply so tight now? Why is the pork quota for 3 people and a half a month so low?" Yu Wenxuan asked. Yu Bingjiang sighed and said, "At the beginning of this year, there were still 3 meat tickets per person per month, with 1 ticket in the early, middle, and late stages. Starting from May, it has been reduced to 2 meat tickets per person per month. When the supply is sufficient, 1 meat ticket can buy 3 liang of meat, and last month 1 meat ticket only gave 2 liang of meat. There are 3 people in our family, and in the second half of the month, we bought a total of 6 liang of meat, all of which were made into cured meat, waiting for you to come home and eat. The meat tickets for the first half of this month have been issued long ago, but there has been no supply of pork. 1 ticket for 2 liang of meat is already insufficient, and I don't know if it will be further reduced. How difficult it is to endure these days," and Yu Wenxuan only learned a little from literature or movies and TV dramas. Now that he has personally experienced it, he knows how difficult these days are. But this is just the beginning, and the days ahead will only become increasingly difficult. Little Stone opens a new book, and the 28-year-old boy sets off again. The young man in the blooming season cannot bear the wind and rain, and I pray that all the benefactors will accompany and take care of him. If you can win a smile and sprinkle 2 drops of rain and dew with radiance, you will use your body. Sorry, I drank too much. I'll say it again. I'll give you a reward. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Visiting Autumn Breeze. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Visiting Autumn Breeze. As Yi-san spoke, Fang Dahong had already arranged the wine in dishes. She entered the room and said, "The dishes are all cooked. You 3 can all serve them while they are hot." 3 people sat around the table, with a plate of steamed sausages, a plate of scrambled eggs, a plate of chili fried meat, and a plate of salted peanuts on the table. It was quite sumptuous. These 4 dishes may feel shabby for modern family gatherings, but in this era, they are all hard dishes. Even the most ordinary salted peanuts cannot be easily eaten. Peanuts are an important material for exporting and earning foreign exchange. They are not usually seen and only appear at the counters of stores during holidays and festivals, with limited supply per person. Yu Bingjiang took out a bottle of Shifeng wine. Without his command, his younger son snatched the bottle and filled the glasses for his father and second brother. Yu Wenhua didn't put down the wine bottle in his hand and looked at his father with a hopeful expression. "Dad, can I have a drink?" "Just one," he said. "Okay, I'll let you have a drink today, but let's not do it again. If you want to drink in the future, you'll have to wait until you graduate from high school." Yu Bingjiang was happy today and followed his youngest son's wishes. Although there is only 1 bottle of wine and 4 dishes, in this era, this lunch is already more sumptuous than the New Year's Eve dinner. The family was about to start eating when suddenly someone outside shouted loudly, "Second brother, is second brother at home? Your nephew and I have come to see you." Upon hearing this sound, Fang Dahong immediately changed her face and said, "Your third brother is really good at picking the right time. I'm afraid this table of dishes won't be enough for him to eat alone. What should I do? Why don't I put away the steamed sausages first and eat them tonight?" Yu Bingjiang hesitated for a moment before saying, "Forget it, let him eat with him. This is Wenshuan's first meal at home, so let his third uncle follow suit. Who would let him choose the right time?" As he spoke, Yu Binghe and his son, who had come from their hometown, had already pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing a few dishes on the table, Yu Binghe's eyes lit up instantly, as if they were shining. He swallowed his saliva and said, "Are you having dinner? I didn't happen to be here. I thought you had already eaten by now. Why don't I go out and take a walk and come back later? What's going on? You haven't eaten yet, have you? Come over and sit down and eat together," Yu Bingjiang called out. "Wenhui and I haven't had a good bite of food for 2 days. Since second brother said that, I won't be polite." Yu Binghe deliberately placed the basket in a prominent place and said, "There's nothing else at home. I stole some sweet potatoes and brought them all. Don't mind, second brother. Since our family is facing difficulties, then you can keep it for yourself." "Why do you still bring it all to me?" said Yu Bingjiang. "I'm too embarrassed to come empty-handed. There's a little missing, but it's a bit of a gesture of goodwill. I originally wanted to bring more things for my second brother, but there's really nothing at home." After Yu Binghe sat down, he saw Yu Wenshuan and asked, "When did Wenshuan come back? This is rare. How long has it been since Uncle San saw you?" "It's been about 10 years, right? It's been 11 years since we last met. I just got home this morning and was planning to visit Uncle San in a few days, but I didn't expect it to happen today. Later, I have to have 2 more drinks with Uncle San." As a younger generation, Yu Wenshuan's third uncle is not his turn to talk about anything, as long as he doesn't lose his manners. Today's table of dishes looked sumptuous, but the quantity was not large enough. Originally, it was not enough to eat, but now there were 2 more big-bellied men, so it was even more insufficient. After finishing a bottle of wine, Yu Wenshuan didn't eat a few bites of the dishes in total. The delicious zhajiangmian, which were originally available for everyone to eat a large bowl, are now only distributed to more than half of them. Yu Wenhui, the younger brother of the third uncle's family, looked at him dry and thin. His two big eyes were so hungry that they protruded, and he looked pitiful. Yu Wenxuan divided a few chopsticks from his bowl of noodles and gave them to him. As he watched the little one eat eagerly, although he wasn't full, Yu Wenxuan's eyes were filled with laughter. Yu Bingjiang was not very enthusiastic about his third younger brother. Yu Wenxuan knew that it was not because his father was unfriendly, but because this third uncle was a bit unprofessional and even had a bad habit of gambling during his free time, leading a miserable life and naturally not being liked by others. Yu Bingjiang did not inquire about his third brother's intentions, but his face was quite thick. After finishing his meal, he began to complain on his own. Life in my hometown is really unbearable. A few days ago, there was still a bowl of wild vegetable congee in the canteen that was thin enough to see people. Since yesterday, even a bowl of wild vegetable congee has disappeared. The big guy had to think of his own way. I am not capable, what can I do? I can only shamelessly come to the city to borrow some food from my second brother. After overcoming this difficult situation, I will definitely double the payment in the future. Yu Wenxuan is worried about his father. Uncle San's family is so difficult, so he should help. But his own little grain is not enough to eat. What can he do for him? He also worries about himself. He was reborn during this period, how will he live his future? In 2023, there will be no one who has ever been hungry and can't even eat enough bran and vegetables. He doesn't want to experience it firsthand. The thought of the difficult days that had already arrived and would continue indefinitely made Yu Wenxuan's scalp tingle. Reborn at other times, he can still find ways to get rich and live a good life. But reborn in 5 or 9 years, he dare not. During this period, almost all means of getting rich were illegal, and some feasible methods, such as remuneration, could only earn money and could not become food for consumption. After all, he is his own brother. If you come to him, you must not let him return empty-handed. Yu Bingjiang sighed and said. Third brother, you know what life is like in the city. Everyone has so much to eat, and usually it's not as easy as in the countryside. Nowadays, the harvest in the countryside is not good, and the quantity in the city is also decreasing. We can't eat enough either. I can't help you much. I can squeeze out 5 kilograms of grain at most to take away for you. In this way, I'll give you another 10 yuan. You have a lively mind. With the money to exchange for some pumpkin and winter melon, you shouldn't worry. These can also fill your stomach. Yu Binghe suddenly smiled and said, Second brother, I knew you wouldn't let me go for nothing. I won't take 5 pounds of grain anymore. Wenhui and I will have a meal with you, which will be enough to cause you trouble. How can we take your rations again? I won't be polite to you for the money. If my family really needs it, I will accept it. Although I can't do my job well, I know many friends from 10 miles and 8 villages. It's not winter yet. As long as I have money, it's definitely not a problem to exchange for some pumpkins and winter melons. I'll bring you a few next time when I get them. Yu Binghe is quite happy. He knew that food was the lifeblood of the city people. If he took away these 5 pounds of food, his second sister-in-law would be unhappy. If his second brother gave him 10 yuan, his second sister-in-law would accept it better. He also promised to bring some pumpkins and winter melons over next time, which can be considered as a way of getting along and not making it too difficult for his second brother. Compared to a few pounds of grain, he values 10 yuan more. The situation is different between rural and urban areas, where money cannot be exchanged for food. Although it may be more difficult in the countryside, those who don't plant fruits and vegetables in front and behind their houses, as long as they have money, can still afford to exchange a small amount. Seeing that Uncle San is more willing to take the money, it's easy to say. Yu Wenxuan also said. Uncle San, it's been more than 10 years since we last met. I haven't shown you any filial piety for so many years. I'll add 10 yuan to you, which can be considered as my filial piety to you. Yu Wenshuan took out 10 yuan and handed it to Uncle San. Yu Bing had declined and said, I can't accept your father's money. How could I accept money from a younger generation? Yu Wenshuan earnestly advised a few words before he happily accepted it. After seeing off the third uncle and son, the whole family returned with a somewhat heavy expression. But Yu Bingjiang didn't have time to lament. Today was a day off, and the whole family had to queue up to buy scarce supplies. They had to leave soon, leaving only Yu Wenshuan to rest at home. Are you still in the system, the elderly care system? He was the only one left at home, and Yu Wenshuan silently tried to call out again. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Space Fishing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Space Fishing. The system has successfully restarted and is currently being repaired. Please check the relevant instructions on your own. An emotionless electronic voice rang out in his mind. Surprise. What a surprise. Since he walked over in the morning, he has been calling the system, but the system has never responded. As long as the system is still there, he has confidence. Although he has a lot of resentment towards this elderly care system, he can at least live in a different identity and era, which is better than being killed after being hit. Yu Wenshuan, who is not yet 40 years old, achieved initial financial freedom after closing the company in 2023 and will live a happy retirement life thereafter. But his retirement life had not yet begun, and it came to an end due to the emergence of the pension system. He was driving on the highway when he was suddenly bound by the system and had an electronic prompt sound in his mind. How could he still focus on driving? Such an advanced system has been limited in intelligence, and everything depends on him to check and explain on his own. Life has undergone such significant changes that he naturally cannot concentrate on driving, to the point where when a car accident occurs ahead, he cannot avoid it in a timely manner and the person is gone. He has initially achieved financial freedom, and his future retirement life will inevitably be happy. This can be foreseen, and the emergence of the elderly care system will only serve as a icing on the cake for him, not as a timely help. Although he knows that the system doesn't have much intelligence, he still needs to fight for himself. System, your appearance caused me to die in a car accident, and I must be compensated. There is no compensation clause in this system, but based on the core setting of everything serves the host, new system applications are under development, all existing applications are stopped and developed applications have been developed. Please check on your own. The original application is quite good, how can it be gone? He originally wanted applications such as pension payments, travel subsidies, and personal hobby progress rewards. Yu Wenshuan couldn't wait to start checking the instructions for the new application. There are 3 new applications developed based on the needs of life preservation, the spiritual needs of elderly care, and material needs. The first item is the golden space. The core function of the golden space is to save lives. Whether it is in the event of natural disasters such as earthquakes, tsunamis, avalanches, or disasters such as air accidents, car accidents, and kikura killings, one can easily escape into the golden space with one thought, allowing them to save their lives. The initial volume of the golden space is 10 cubic meters, and for every ton of gold consumed, an additional cubic meter of volume can be added. Yu Wenshuan is very satisfied with this new application. He has died once and deeply understands the fragility of life. With the golden space, he doesn't have to worry about accidents in the future. The second item is that diligence can make up for weakness. Elderly care has both material and spiritual needs, and this application is developed based on its spiritual needs. With this application, it is equivalent to adding a permanent buff. No matter what he does in the future, as long as he works hard, he will make progress. In the future, no matter which personal hobby he has, whether it is playing piano, chess, calligraphy, or painting, or whether he has talent or not, as long as he perseveres, he will make progress. He is not sure how much progress has been made, but there is always better than nothing. The third application is a shopping mall. He can buy any item for sale in the world through the shopping mall, including items sold in malls, stores, and items that individuals are willing to sell. With this application, shopping will be very convenient in the future, but the restrictions are also significant. The system development of this application is to provide him with shopping convenience for retirement, not to help him achieve a career as an intermediary. Therefore, he can only buy one item per day. If he does not use it on the same day, it can be accumulated. This application is still under development and is expected to be completed in 3 days. Although the original fancy dozen or so applications were all cancelled, which was quite regrettable, the modified applications were more targeted and he was very satisfied. There are not many applications, but they respectively take into account the needs of life preservation, spiritual needs, and material needs, which is already sufficient. A golden space can save his life, diligence can make up for his shortcomings, can continuously improve his personal hobbies, and shopping malls can help him buy any product he needs. With these, his retirement days are bound to be happy. He has just started a new life, and before he can retire, these 3 applications are even more important. Especially in the shopping mall, it is what he needs the most right now. Being able to buy any product in the world, he doesn't have to worry about going hungry in the future. Without worries about the future, Yu Wenxuan suddenly relaxed. With the system, he no longer has to worry about going hungry in the future, and his family and friends around him can all benefit from it. In the future, if someone comes to his hometown for help again, he is fully capable of helping and will not make his old father worry anymore. When the shopping mall opens, he won't have to worry about food and clothing anymore. 3 days is not long, but his still hungry stomach can't wait for a moment. He wants to have a full meal now. He thinks that golden space should be able to solve this problem for him, and as for whether his guess is correct, just go out and give it a try. In addition to its core function of life-saving, the golden space can also store items, including living creatures, in the space. The range of items collected in the space is within a radius of 100 meters centered on it, and the weight limit is that a single item does not exceed 100 kilograms. As long as these 2 conditions are met, he can receive the item in the space with just one thought. If he touches an item with his hands, the maximum weight limit for the item is 1,000 kilograms. Since the space can accommodate living creatures, it should not be difficult for him to have a full meal. In the city, there are no other wild animals, but there are still quite a few sparrows on the trees. He can use the space to collect some sparrows, although there is not much meat, as the number increases, he can still eat enough. Moreover, sparrows are one of the 4 pests in this era, and it is a glorious thing to be able to hunt them down. Hunting sparrows in space is definitely feasible, but sparrows are too small, which is just one of his feasible solutions. He wants to try fishing in space. If space can be used for fishing, not only can the current hunger problem be solved, but also the problem of income generation can be solved simultaneously. If there were no shopping malls, in this era, even if you have money, you may not be able to spend it. But with a shopping mall, he no longer has this concern, and the more money he has in his hand, the better. Yu Wenxuan dug out his fishing rod at home, grabbed a net bag, pushed on the bicycle his father had left behind, and left the courtyard. Kyoto has 5 major water systems, and in this era, there are abundant resources in the water, including various types of fish and shrimp. He was eager to try the function of space now, and did not specifically go to the distant waters, so he stopped at the nearest seaside. There are also fish in the sea, which is enough for him to conduct experiments. The fish was in the water, and he couldn't see what was happening underwater, but that didn't prevent him from using his own thoughts. He tried to use his thoughts to collect a large fish over a foot long in the water in front of him. Under one of his thoughts, more than 30 big fish over 1 foot appeared in the golden space. His experiment was successful. He can really use space to fish, and the quantity is large and extremely convenient. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Willingness to take the hook. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Willingness to take the hook. Since space allows for fishing, there is no need to worry about eating fish in the future. You can eat as much as you want and no longer have to worry about hunger. But there are so many fish that you can't eat them all by yourself. You still need to find ways to use them, such as exchanging them for other supplies or directly exchanging them for money. Not far ahead, there are several anglers sitting by the river fishing, and he is preparing to see how these people operate after catching the fish. He also found a spot, moved a stone and sat down, pretending to start fishing. As soon as he sat down for a while, a middle-aged lady walked over. This lady had strong social skills and became familiar with the fishing friend on his left in just a few words. Auntie explained her purpose and said, "Master Chen, your fishing skills are really amazing. You only caught 2 big fish in a short time. With so many people fishing here, I haven't seen anyone more powerful than you. Do you think we can have a discussion? I've been scouting here for a while now, and I just want to change a fish to go home and nurse my daughter. In law. Do you think we can switch? Keep the big one for yourself, I'll switch to the small one. I am a real person, and I promise not to let you suffer. That small grass carp looks like it weighs 2 pounds. The market price is 3.51 pounds, and I'll give you 4 cents. What about the necessary tickets? I'll exchange the toughest grain ticket with you. As usual, for such a big fish, I'll exchange 3 pounds of grain ticket with you for 1 pound of fish. If you want to keep the small one, I can exchange it for the larger one. Master Chen, which one do you think I can exchange for? Okay, who wants us to have a bad temper? Since your family needs it, let's switch to that big one." Not long after the middle-aged lady left, another old man walked over and started a conversation with the fishing friend. This time, the transaction between the two was quite secretive, so they deliberately moved to a secluded place to complete the transaction. After the angler returned, Yu Wenshuan leaned over and pulled out a cigarette to hand to Master Chen, saying, "Master Chen, take a cigarette. Let's chat a few words, won't it waste your time? What's delaying? Don't delay. Fishing is originally a leisure activity, so it's a good time to take a break." Master Chen reached out to catch the cigarette and glanced at it, then exclaimed, "Peony. This is a high-quality cigarette, young man. Look at you in military uniform, you just changed jobs. A few years ago, while fighting against Lao Mi, my brain was injured and my old illness recurred. I had no choice but to switch jobs." Yu Wenshuan lit a fire for the two and stuffed the peony smoke in his hand into Master Chen's pocket. Master Chen quickly evaded and said, "What's this for? Put it away quickly. No merit, no reward. This is peony smoke, only worth 50 cents per pack, second only to China. It's not even easy to buy with money. You have to accept this. Don't be polite to me. I've been away from home for more than 10 years and just returned. I don't understand anything. I have some things to ask for your guidance. How can I say that I'm not getting paid for nothing? You can afford it." After a few words of concession, Master Chen saw Yu Wenshuan's sincerity and accepted the cigarette. "I, old Chen, grew up under the roots of the imperial city and have been living in these 4 or 9 cities for half my life. At present, there is nothing unknown about this matter. If you have any questions, just ask. I won't hide anything from you anymore. To be honest, my family has a large population and I want to fish to provide some subsidies for my family. However, I don't know how to operate it. Please give me some guidance," Yu Wenshuan said humbly. "You found the right person, not to brag about it. The fishing friends in this area are only of my high level, and every time I come back, there is almost no air force. We've caught too much fish, we can't eat it ourselves. We can't waste it, can we?" Yu Wenshuan quickly agreed, "It's such a trick. You caught 2 big fish in such a short while, where can you eat it? I see that other fishing friends have also caught fish, but why did the old man and the previous old lady come to you just now? Is there something to say? Indeed, it was said, do you see what's more here than the other fishing friends? Is this the scale? Of course, Yu Wenshuan also noticed this. Young man has vision. Master Chen continued to explain, I carry a pole scale with me, and the meaning is very obvious. If I don't plan to take action, why do I carry the style of a fish seller? Those who often come to the riverbank to fish are aware of this, so they naturally come to me. If you want to take action after getting caught in a fish, how should you do it? If someone lifts or reports it, we shouldn't be considered opportunistic, right? Yu Wenshuan was most concerned about this issue. Your concern is right, you need to be careful. So, in front of everyone's eyes, we can adjust each other's prices without going out of line. The price must be the market price, and then we can add other tickets that are equivalent to fish tickets. We're not buying low and selling high, of course it's not considered speculation. Master Chen glanced around and leaned into Yu Wenshuan's ear, whispering. Those who come here to fish are few in number who can offer tickets for exchange. Most of the time, they still pay directly to buy, so they cannot be seen by others. They need to find a secluded place to trade privately. You don't have to worry, we're just playing around and no one is investigating. Even if someone reports it, he still needs evidence, right? Anyway, I haven't encountered such a bullshit case in all these years. The master was quite sincere, and Yu Wenshuan continued to ask, so if we only pay, how should the price be calculated? Of course, we followed the black price, but we need to be lower than the black price and not too black. Nowadays, everyone is short of something to eat, and it's even harder to find nutritious things to exchange. A big fish weighing 2 or 3 pounds is currently priced at 1.561 pounds for black asterisk, and around 1.2 yuan for 1 pound. As long as you are a little lower than this price, you don't have to worry about selling it. Is the price of black asterisk so high? As ordinary people, we really can't afford low wages. Master Chen sighed and said, these days are getting harder and harder. Nowadays, everyone can't eat enough. As long as it's one bite, the price on the black label is 1 day. That's where it goes. Look, there's still a long way to go. The two of them chatted hotter and hotter. Master Chen was very enthusiastic and good at doing business. He said he still had an old scale at home, so he decided to transfer it to Yu Wenshuan for 1 yuan. With this pole scale, Yu Wenshuan and Master Chen bid farewell and went around selecting suitable places to start selling fish. After searching for almost half an hour, he finally found a particularly suitable place. Not far in front of him, there is a huge stone that is over 1 person tall, and the back of the stone can block people's sight. With such an excellent location, he doesn't need to change positions frequently. He first went to the back of the big stone and filled his net pocket with 5 fish. Carrying the net bag out, I moved a stone not far from the big stone and sat down, deliberately placing the scale next to the net bag. Then I started fishing with peace of mind, waiting for the fish to catch the bait. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Getting Rich. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Getting Rich. Just as Yu Wenshuan sat down for a few minutes, a middle-aged man in a Zhongshan suit walked over and started chatting with him. Comrade, you're too powerful. You caught 5 big fish in just half an hour. It's all good luck. This is also the first time I've gained so much, said Yu Wenshuan humbly. These 5 fish, I see they weigh 20 pounds. With such a big harvest, your family can't eat them, can they? My family has a small population, so I really can't eat it. How about we adjust and adjust? Okay, it's better to exchange it with grain tickets. If not, oil tickets and sugar tickets are also acceptable. The middle-aged man patted his thigh and said regretfully, look at what's going on. I came out in a hurry and didn't bring any tickets, I just had money on me. Comrade, can you please accommodate me? This time, I won't exchange tickets for this adjustment, and I will make up for it next time everyone has an inconvenient time. If you don't have a ticket, then this price. Yuan Xuan prefers the other party to exchange grain vouchers, but as Mr. Chen said, those who come here to fish are only a few who can bring out vouchers. If he insists on the other party exchanging tickets, this transaction may not be successful. The price is easy to say, and the specified price will not let you suffer a loss. How about 1.5 yuan? Obviously, this Zhongshan suit owner is not short of money, and when he speaks, he is immediately aware of the current black price. Yuan Xuan was also not greedy and said happily, okay, that's it this time. But next time, you can't adjust like this. You need to get a ticket to exchange. You should be able to see that I'm not short of money, I'm only short of tickets, it's obvious. Comrade, at first glance, you've switched jobs. The salary is definitely not low, how can you be short of money? This time I've been exposed to it, and I'll definitely exchange it with a ticket for the next transfer. Zhongshan suit is very happy, thank you repeatedly. Although he spent a black price, the nature is different. This is not buying things on the black market, but privately adjusting without any worries or hidden dangers. He is very satisfied that he can buy 5 big fish for a little more money. After weighing, these 5 fish weighed a total of 21 pounds, and Yuan Xuan earned 31.5 yuan in one go. With space, money comes so quickly. An ordinary worker earns just 1 month's salary. After Zhongshan Zhuang walked away, he went to the back of the big stone. When he walked out again, his net pocket was filled with fish. Perhaps it was his good luck, or perhaps diligence can make up for clumsiness, that played a role. As soon as he sat down for a while, he caught a big fish. When he took the 4-pound catfish off the hook, an old lady who looked clean and tidy stood in the distance to observe for a while before finally walking towards him. As soon as they met, she asked, "Young man, do you want to exchange this fish? I have gained a lot today and can exchange it. It would be best to exchange it for grain, oil, or sugar tickets. What tickets are you planning to use to exchange it for? The oil and sugar tickets have long been used up, and there are still some grain tickets, but not many. I only carry 10 pounds with me. Do you think I can exchange them?" The old lady looked hesitant. "Then I'll weigh the weight of this newly caught catfish." After weighing, this big catfish weighs 4 pounds and 2 taels. Yuan Xuan said, "I was supposed to charge you 12 pounds and 6 taels of grain coupons, but as someone who can't bear the elderly's difficulties, I'll exchange them for 10 pounds of grain coupons for you. The price is based on 40 cents per kilogram, and you can give me another one. 7 cents. Thank you so much, young man. My old man is not in good health, and the doctor asked me to supplement my nutrition. You have been a big help to me." The old lady thanked me repeatedly. After Yuan Xuan collected the money and tickets, the old lady asked awkwardly, "Young man, I don't have any tickets on me anymore, but I still want to buy 2 more fish from you. If you think I can offer a higher price, let's stick to the black price. Can you sell me 2 more fish? Okay, who makes me feel quite friendly when I see you. You can buy as many as you want, and don't use the black asterisk price. I'll lower it for you a little, just 1 yuan and 3 yuan. This old lady appears to have a thin skin, and Yuan Xuan is willing to take care of her. I'm so sorry, if you don't take my ticket, I'll already have all the money. How can I take advantage of you in terms of price? I know the current black market price for such a big fish is 1.5 yuan. Let's stick to this price and we can't let you lose out. I still think that in the future, I can come to you to buy fish. Our father-in-law is peaceful, so that we can last for a long time. The old lady is a straightforward person who quite insists on her own ideas. Yuan Xuan politely said a few words, and seeing that she is indeed not short of money, she followed her wishes. At the same time, I promised the old lady that I would come back to his place to buy fish in the future, without the need for tickets, just for the money. Excluding the newly caught catfish, the fish in the net bag weighed a total of 18 pounds, and Yuan charged the old lady 27 yuan. Madam, over 20 pounds of fish are quite heavy. Can you handle it? Yuan asked anxiously. Don't underestimate me, I'm in good health. Not to mention only 20 pounds of fish, even if you double it, I can still take it with my hand. Watching the old lady carrying the fish in one hand and strode away with meteors, Yuan felt very emotional in his heart. If we replace the fish with iron lumps, the old lady will not have this mental energy. In this era of long-term hunger, everyone can unleash tremendous potential for just one bite. Yuan sold fish very smoothly, selling 6 net bags of fish in less than 2 hours. I received a total of 151.60 yuan, and also exchanged 46 kilograms of grain tickets, 3 kilograms of sugar tickets, and 1.5 kilograms of oil tickets. Put the old scale into the space and put a big fish and 3 small fish weighing less than 1 pound back into the net pocket. Yuan rode his bike back. Entering the courtyard, the fish brought back by Yuan caused a sensation. A group of children gathered around to see the strange things, even the adults they met on the way were amazed. There are many people going fishing at the seaside, but most of the time it is the Air Force returning, and there are occasional gains, at most only 3 or 2 small fish. The net fish brought back by Yuan, the big grass carp weighing 15 or 16 pounds, is really rare. Such a large fish is not even common in the market, let alone caught from the sea. Surrounded by a group of children, they walked to their doorstep and welcomed the family who heard the noise. Second brother, where did you catch the fish from? It's too big, isn't it? I've grown so big, it's the first time I've seen such a big fish. Yuanhua walked around the fishing net with a curious expression on his face. When Yuan walked home carrying the fish, the children gathered at the door reluctantly dispersed. This fish is too big, it needs to weigh 15 or 16 pounds, right? It must be delicious when stewed. How do you think it should be done? Did you stew it all or leave some room for it? This fish was caught by Yuan, and Fang Dahong dare not make his own decisions. No more, stew it tonight and call my big brother over. Let's have a great dinner tonight. Yuan chose to bring a big fish home, just to have a full meal. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Complex Family Relationships. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Complex Family Relationships, then I'll go call. At this point, it's almost time for Big Brother to finish work. I haven't seen Big Brother for over 2 months, so I'm missing him a bit. Yuanhua was very proactive and pushed on the only bicycle in his family, leaving the courtyard in a lively manner. The eldest Yuanjia's absence from the courtyard for such a long time is not due to any conflict with his father, but purely because he does not want to see Fang Dahong. Yu Bingjiang and Fang Dahong are a reorganized family. When they got married, the man had 3 children and an adopted daughter, while the woman had 1 son and 2 daughters. After getting married, they also had a son named Yuanhua. 8 years ago, Yu Bingjiang went on a long journey. The money he had left for his family was barely enough to eat and drink during this period, but when Fang Dahong went out to buy food, he was robbed by someone, and the whole family's life was suddenly plunged into dire straits. At that time, the war was chaotic and it was too difficult to earn money. The money for the family's odd jobs was sometimes insufficient and not even worth it. A family without food cannot all starve to death, they can only find ways to survive. Someone suggested to Yuan's elder sister Yuanjing that she should sell herself to a wealthy family as a servant, so that she could survive and even exchange money to keep her family alive. Despite being unwilling to accept the difficult times, Yuanjing accepted this suggestion after careful consideration. After making this difficult decision, she told her stepmother Fang Dahong about the idea. At first, Fang Dahong disagreed, patiently persuading with tears in her eyes. Because of Yu Wenjing's resolute attitude, she reluctantly agreed. Yu Wenjing knew that her two younger brothers would definitely not agree to this matter, and did not tell them at first. After preparing the matter, she informed them again. After signing the document and receiving the money, even if the two younger brothers oppose it, they have no choice. Yu Bingjiang is a good person. A kind-hearted neighbor secretly told Yu Wenjie about this matter and even reminded him that the toothpick who bought people would usually send beautiful girls to Ba de Hatong. This time, Fang Dahong's malicious thoughts were completely exposed. In order to sell an extra $10, she didn't hesitate to set a trap and send her stepdaughter to the fire pit. Fang Dahong's image as a kind-hearted stepmother who had been in business for many years completely collapsed, and since then, her 4 stepchildren have turned against her. In order to survive, the 4 siblings had to part ways and each sought a way out. Sister Yu Wenjing returned to her hometown in the countryside with Yu Wenxuan and the youngest Li Yuxiu, while Yu Wenjie continued to make a living in the city. Life in the countryside is even more difficult than in the city. Not long after returning to the countryside, Yu Wenxuan followed his fellow villagers to participate in the revolution. After Yu Wenjing and the others returned to the countryside, Fang Dahong specially sent his son Lu Yongming to visit in order to ease the relationship between the two sides. As a result, Lu Yongming discovered that Yu Wenxuan had joined the army, and it was unclear whether he had done it intentionally or unintentionally. After returning to the city, he spread the news on a small scale. Yu Wenjie is the eldest brother of Yu Wenxuan, who was implicated by his second brother and was arrested by Guzi and imprisoned. Fortunately, Kyoto was quickly liberated, and Yu Wenjie, who was tormented and on the brink of death, managed to save his life. From then on, Yu Wenjie hated Lu Yongming and Fang Dahong to death, treating the mother and son as enemies. When Yu Bingjiang returned to Kyoto and learned about the ups and downs of this period, he became furious and insisted on driving Fang Dahong away. But after all, the two of them gave birth to a son named Yu Wenhua, who is lively and cheerful and deeply loved by the whole family. Later, it was still because his youngest son kept crying that Yu Bingjiang allowed Fang Dahong to stay at his request. However, Fang Dahong's son Lu Yongming was still kicked out of the house. Yu Wenxuan has been away from home for 11 years, and his family's work and life have undergone significant changes. Sister Yu Wenjing and elder brother Yu Wenjie have both been married and have children. Li Yuxiu, who is 3 years younger than Yu Wenxuan, has graduated from college this year and started working. Even the daughter Lu Xiaoye brought by Fang Dahong is already in her senior year. Li Yuxiu is not only the adopted daughter of Yu Bingjiang, but also the fiancée of Yu Wenxuan. In that era of war, Li Yuxiu, who was only 5 years old, was separated from her family. Fortunately, she met Yu Wenxuan's grandmother and, seeing her pitiful, brought her home. After inquiring about her situation, the old lady felt pity and saw that she looked lovely. After seeking her opinion, she kept her as Yu Wenxuan's child bride. Yu Wenxuan's mother is an educated and knowledgeable woman who dislikes having a child daughter. Law who doesn't sound good, so Li Yuxiu's identity becomes that of the Yu family's adopted daughter. Regardless of their identity, it was Li Yuxiu and Yu Wenxuan who developed a relationship. 4 years ago, Yu Wenxuan returned home and the two were officially engaged. In the memory of his predecessor, Big Brother was a very responsible person with the demeanor of an elder brother. Their relationship was excellent when they were young. But the last time we met, which was the time he came back 4 years ago, I felt that my older brother's attitude towards him was a bit cold. Yu Wenxuan felt that it was possible that his elder brother was in prison. The experience in prison was too profound and painful, and his involvement in such an experience inevitably led to resentment. He was still recalling the scenes from the last meeting with his older brother, Yu Wenjie, who had already entered the room with his younger brother Yu Wenhua, chatting and laughing. As soon as we met, Yu Wenjie loudly said, "Xuanzi, I heard from you that you have changed jobs, it's great." Although you have a promising future when you join the army, you are constantly bombarded with bullets and bullets. We are also worried at home, and changing jobs is also good. After all, it's also good. You have been smart since childhood, and maybe your future will be better after changing jobs. Yu Wenjie's attitude is clearly much more enthusiastic than the last meeting. Yu Wenxuan agreed, Big Brother is right, I think so too. It's good to have troops in the army, but at least it's safe to transfer to the local area. In the future, I can see you every day, and that's what happiness is. I heard that your brain injury has recurred. How is your recovery now? The medical level in Kyoto's hospital is quite high. How about I accompany you to have a check-up one day? The treatment cannot be vague. Spending more money is not a big deal, and we still need to find a way to cure it. Yu Wenjie is particularly worried about his second brother's injury. I have basically recovered, and the doctor said that as long as I don't get too tired, there won't be a relapse. Now that I have transferred to a new job and am engaged in a relaxed human resources job, I won't be tired anymore and definitely won't have a relapse. Yu Wenxuan's illness was quite serious, but after his rebirth, the system had already cured his patient. Yu Wenjie said seriously, then you have to listen to the doctor. If you have any heavy or tiring work in the future, don't do it yourself. Please greet me and I will come and help you. Okay, if there's any heavy work in the future, I'll go call you. When the doctor says my illness has completely recovered, I'll do it myself. Yu Wenxuan agreed casually. That's right, with your big brother around, Wenhua is also a big and small guy. Your father and I are not very old, so we don't need you to intervene in the heavy and tiring work of our family. Yu Bingjiang also took the opportunity to declare this. Yu Bingjiang's biggest concern is the recurrence of the second child's condition. The second child is only 26 years old this year, has a good job and a mind, and has a bright future. The illness should not be delayed. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. A fearless and full meal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. A fearless and full meal. After the family talked for a while, Yu Wenxuan realized that he had not brought out the gift he had brought and said, I brought back some local specialties from northeast China, and I will go and take them out. He first took out 3 cured ducks and said, this is the cured duck that I asked a sister-in-law from the military region to smoke. This sister-in-law is from Sichuan, and the smoked cured duck is very good. Many people are asking him for help. Let's also try this sister-in-law's craft. These 3 cured ducks, let's keep one at home and give one to each of the big brothers and sisters. Remember to bring it with you when the big brother leaves. Yu Wenjie quickly refused, it won't be easy for you to exchange these 3 cured ducks. I won't want them anymore. You're not in good health, so let's keep them for yourself to supplement your nutrition. Isn't there still something at home? Don't be polite to me. I brought it all the way, so I'll let you taste it no matter how far away. Then Yu Wenxuan took out another pair of leather shoes and handed them to his father. These are military leather shoes. Dad, can you try them on well? Yu Bingjiang took these brand new leather shoes over, his eyes lit up, but his mouth said, give me these good leather shoes. It's not for nothing. I work in the workshop every day, so just wear a pair of cloth shoes. You'd better keep them for yourself. I can't bear to wear them when working in the workshop. It's okay to wear them when visiting relatives and friends, right? These are the size 41 shoes I specially changed for you. I'm wearing them small, so you can only wear them yourself in our house. My son can't wear it, so Yu Bingjiang can only keep it for himself. Don't waste money on me in the future. You have more places to spend money, and even if your salary is high, it doesn't matter. Yu Wenxuan took out 2 70.8% new military uniforms and handed them to his elder brother. These 2 military uniforms are both worn by me. Don't mind, elder brother. How could I dislike such a good military uniform? It hasn't been worn a few times, has it? It still looks new. Yu Wenjie happily accepted it. I also changed our elder sister and her husband into military uniforms and brought them over another day. Second brother, where's my gift? You won't forget me, will you? Yu Wenhua was already anxious and asked, scratching his ears and cheeks. I have also prepared 2 military uniforms for you, both of which I have worn. They are a bit older than my older brother's too, and you need to make them smaller before you can wear them. Yu Wenxuan took out 2 sets of clothes again. Yu Wenhua snatched it over and shook off both of his clothes. He kept saying to himself, it's better to be a little bigger, I don't think it needs to be changed. It's easy to wear. Yu Wenxuan untied the only linen pocket, took out a small pocket from it, continued to untie it, and said. This is the mushroom fruit, also known as lantern fruit, which I bought specifically from a fellow villager in northeast China. It is particularly sweet and you can all taste it. Later, let Wenhua bring a bowl to the neighbors as well. I haven't been at home for so many years and I'm not familiar with the situation. Dad, please take care of the arrangements then, he said to his elder brother, there are quite a few mushrooms and mushrooms. When you leave, big brother, bring some for my nephew as well. There are also mushrooms and fungus that I exchanged in the bag, and you can take some as well. These are all fresh goods, so I'll take more, Yu Wenjie said happily. By the time Yu Wenhua sent a bowl of mushroom nyangua to several neighbors who had dealings, Fang Dahong had already stewed a large pot of fish. After entering the door, Yu Wenhua took a deep breath and unconsciously swallowed his saliva, saying, it's so delicious. How long has it been since I've eaten stewed fish? Just smelling this smell makes me so fragrant. Can it not be fragrant? This is a big fish weighing 18 pounds, and I have weighed it before. It's so big that when stewed, it's no different from fat, it's delicious. Fang Dahong set the table and shouted to the inner room, the fish is about to be stewed. Do you four want to have a glass of wine? Yu Bingjiang responded, I need to drink some. This fragrant fish will be wasted if I don't drink some alcohol. Unfortunately, I only have half a bottle of wine at home, so I can't enjoy it. I can only make do with it. I brought over a bottle of wine and put it on the cabinet in the main room, and with this half bottle at home, it's almost enough to drink. Today was the first day my second brother returned home, and of course, Yu Wenjie couldn't come empty-handed. Fang Dahong is a good hand at living. She ate all 4 hard dishes at noon, and even managed to gather 4 more dishes for this dinner at night. The main course is of course stewed big fish in an iron pot, and the other 3 are vegetarian dishes, which are cold mixed shredded radish, garlic mashed eggplant, and lettuce dipped in soy sauce. There is such a big pot of fish, and these 3 vegetarian dishes are not at all shabby and just appetizing. The family ate while drinking, and after finishing a large bowl of fish, Fang Dahong brought another bowl. After finishing 2 bowls of fish, she also drank up a bottle and a half of wine. Remove the cups and plates, and Fang Dahong brings up the newly pasted corn flour pancake. The golden pancake, paired with a fragrant iron pot stewed with big fish, is really tempting. After eating 2 pots of fish, Yu Wenxuan felt that he was only 1/3 full and his stomach was still empty. He specifically picked a big fish to bring back, just to have a full meal. When he saw his father and big brother slowing down their chopsticks, he persuaded them. Today, let's have a full meal. Don't let anyone have a stomach. In recent years, I have been outside and the biggest improvement is in my marksmanship, followed by my fishing skills. There are many rivers and seas in our capital city. Whenever there is water, there are fish. When I have time, I will go fishing for a few. In the future, we will have to eat fish. If you eat too much fish, you can naturally save on food. I can't say that our family won't be hungry in the future, at least we won't lack nutrition in the future. He will often carry fish home and always have to find a reason. Really? In the future, our family can eat fish every day. Second brother, you didn't lie to me, did you? Yu Wenhua looked surprised and hopeful. Yu Wenshuan flicked his little brother's forehead and said, eating fish every day doesn't necessarily mean it's guaranteed. Eating it every once in a while can still be guaranteed. That's great, that's really great. Second brother, you really should switch jobs early. The feeling of being hungry is not good. I don't expect to eat fish frequently, as long as I can ensure that I'm not hungry, I'll be satisfied. Yu Wenhua was overjoyed at the thought of not having to be hungry in the future. Fang Dahong continued, being able to have a full meal and frequently eating fish is not enough to be satisfied with such a good day. Otherwise, you still want to go to heaven. With Yu Wenshuan's assurance, Yu Bingjiang and Yu Wenjie no longer had stomachs and started eating together. This meal was so hot that not only did Fang Dahong eat all the newly pasted pancakes, but there was also only a little fish soup left in a large pot of fish. Yu Wenshuan is not the only one who has been hungry during this period. Yu Bingjiang's whole family has not had a full meal for a long time. Today's meal was very satisfying for everyone. It's so comfortable. After eating this meal, I feel like I can starve for 3 days. If I can have such a full meal after 3 days of hunger, then I'm willing, Yu Wenhua sighed as he touched his stomach. I should have starved you for 3 days, but don't you see how much you ate today? The whole family only counted the fish and meat that you ate a lot, and at least 3 pounds were eaten by you. Including the big pancakes that were eaten by you, all 4 days of ration were made by you in this meal. After eating your second brother's fish and meat, you must remember his kindness. In the future, you will have to rush to do heavy and tiring work. Your second brother's illness cannot be tiring, you must remember it. Well, faced with the cold attitude of Yu Wenjie and Yu Wenshuan, Fang Dahong seemed to not mind at all. She said whatever she wanted to say, and there was no apparent distance. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Son must pay grain tickets for a meal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Son must pay grain tickets for a meal. When the whole family put down their chopsticks and stood in front of Fang Dahong, Yu Wenjie took out a food receipt and handed it to his father, saying, "Dad, this is the half-pound food receipt I had for today's meal. Please keep it. There's no need for so much, just give it 3 or 4 taels." Yu Bingjiang didn't refuse, just felt that his son had given too much. "Not much, I've had enough to eat today, so why don't you give me half a pound?" "Okay, I'll take it this time. I'll just keep it as usual from now on." Yu Bingjiang stopped being polite to his son and collected this grain receipt. If it weren't for accepting the memories of his predecessor, Yu Wenshuan would definitely not have understood their actions. Only in this era do we know that the operation of 2 people is very normal, not just the Yu Bingjiang family, but every family in the country. Even if it's the highest level, other mountains, or islands treating guests at home, the invited guests should consciously submit their food vouchers. During this period, jobs vary, wages vary greatly, and there is a significant gap between high and low levels, but the quantity of food is basically the same for everyone. The number of heavy manual workers will be higher, but not much higher, at most not more than twice. Everyone's monthly food allowance is not sufficient, and if guests come to their homes for meals without food vouchers, they will have to go hungry on the last days of the month. So, during this period, if you visit someone else's house, you must consciously give them food vouchers or bring some staple food over. If the gift brought by the guest is not something to eat, no matter how expensive the price is, it should be supplemented with a food receipt. Not only should guests consciously do this, but even family members who don't eat together and occasionally come home to have a meal should also consciously give food vouchers. Otherwise, there will definitely be family conflicts. Don't think it's a small matter. For any family, anything that involves eating is a big deal. Friends or family members may not care about the amount of money involved, but if it comes to food, it is important to have a clear understanding. Yu Wenshuan also took the opportunity to say, "Dad, there are still 17 days left this month. Here are 17 kilograms of grain coupons, and I will eat them at home before the end of the month. You can't keep a few pounds yourself. Your unit is quite far away, and after reporting, you have to eat in the cafeteria at noon. Although your work has been implemented, it is best to report early and quickly finalize the grain relationship. Don't delay the issuance of the grain ticket on the 24th, Yu Bingjiang reminded. I can't delay it. I'll report for duty after the 20th, issuing food tickets is a big deal, how could I miss it? During this period, individuals with work units generally had food relations attached to their units. The day when workers receive their wages varies among different units, and sometimes may be postponed due to lack of money. But the date of issuing grain tickets is never postponed, as the 24th is usually the day in Beijing. Why is the date of issuing grain tickets so punctual every month? That's because everyone is waiting for rice to cook. In the 2 days before the monthly issuance of grain tickets, almost every household has nothing to eat. Even if the date of issuing grain tickets is postponed by 1 day, it may lead to countless people starving for an extra day. This is a major matter related to people's livelihood, and naturally cannot be postponed. Because all units issue grain vouchers on the 24th, there will be long queues in front of each grain store every 25th. By next year, this scene will be even more spectacular. At present, ordinary residents without jobs in the capital city still rely on their ability to receive grain, and next year they will switch to purchasing with grain tickets, which will also be issued on the 24th. Next year, all residents will receive food with their food vouchers. The people queuing up to receive food on the 25th are really a long line. Yu Bingjiang took the 17-pound grain voucher given to him by his second son and drew out 4 pounds from it, saying, "You can keep these 4 pounds of grain vouchers for lunch in the cafeteria for 10 days, which is almost enough." Yu Wenxuan didn't answer. The extra 4 pounds of grain vouchers are something I provided as a subsidy to my family. I still have enough grain vouchers in my hand, which is enough for me to eat outside. The old father's expression was clearly skeptical of his words, and Yu Wenxuan took this opportunity to explain. After a long time, you will know that my fishing skills are really not bad. In addition to the few fish brought home, 2 more fish were exchanged by someone. 1 pound of big fish is exchanged for 3 pounds of grain coupons. Now I still have more than 10 pounds of grain coupons in my hand. The food coupons in the cafeteria are enough. Second brother is really amazing. If only I had such good fishing skills, that would be great. I don't have to worry about starving again in the future. Yu Wenhua's eyes were full of small stars, admiring second brother extremely. Yu Bingjiang's face did not show a smile and he said very seriously, "The fish caught from the river are also from the country. Will there be any problem if you exchange the fish for food stamps? As long as there is no explicit prohibition, there will be no problem. Now the country has not said that people should not go fishing by the river, and those who catch fish do so. This is not out of line. Of course, we should try to be as low-key as possible to avoid others being jealous." Yu Wenxuan comes from a scout background and has the support of Golden Space. He is also very cautious when trading, and he believes that there will be no problems on his side. The only thing to worry about is that there are many people in the courtyard with mixed eyes. His family is living well, and it is inevitable that some people will be jealous. Yu Bingjiang also considered this issue and said, "It's better to keep a low profile. Nowadays, life is so difficult for everyone. If our family were to have a big feast every day, it wouldn't be eye-catching, it would be hateful. If someone is concerned, there may be some trouble. In the future, if the fish you catch can be handled outside, try not to bring them home." Yu Wenhua was happily fantasizing about the days when he would eat stewed big fish every 3 days in the future. When he heard his father's words, he suddenly became unhappy and asked, teasing his head, "I didn't steal it. Why can't I eat the fish I caught myself?" Yu Wenjie slapped his younger brother on the back and said, "Li is such a reason, but it can easily lead to trouble if people are envious. Dad means don't be too ostentatious. If we live a good life, we should try to be low-key. It doesn't mean that we can't eat stewed big fish in the future. We can still eat it, but we should try to hide it as much as possible and not let anyone know. Yu Wenhua scratched his head and said, "This is really difficult. We all live in the same courtyard, and even if we can't see it, he can smell it. It's not easy to steal it and not let anyone know." Fong Dahong took the conversation and said, "Winter is coming soon. It's freezing and the weather won't spoil anything. It's not difficult to steal some good food. I'll take care of the meal, and it's inevitable for the neighbors to envy me, but I promise I won't make them jealous." Upon hearing Fong Dahong's words, the whole family felt relieved. Fong Dahong felt that she had this ability, and the whole family also felt that she could do it. Yu Wenjie gave his stepmother a cold glance, his eyes filled with contempt. His stepmother is always good at pretending to be a good person, and the thing they are worried about is really a piece of cake for her. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Housing Challenges. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Housing Challenges. The house of Yu Bingjiang's family is the west wing of the courtyard, with a total of 3 main rooms. There are also small sheds built on both north and south sides. One is a simple kitchen, and the other is for storing miscellaneous items. A main room to the north, inhabited by the couple of Yu Bingjiang. The room to the south was reserved for Lu Xiaoye and Li Yuxiu. The room facing the door in the middle is a living room and dining room, usually not occupied by people. But there were too many people in the family and there was not enough space to live in, so a partition was made and an additional small room came out to let the youngest son Yu Wenhua live. After Yu Wenshuan switched jobs and returned home, how to arrange a place for him to sleep became a big challenge. The small room where Yu Wenhua lives can only accommodate 1 bed and cannot accommodate 2 people. Fortunately, both Lu Xiaoye and Li Yuxiu have not been staying at home during this period. How to solve this headache-inducing problem has left Yu Bingjiang with ample time to think. Tonight, Yu Wenhua was kicked out to live in the southern room and temporarily slept on his sister Lu Xiaoye's bed. Before Lu Xiaoye and Li Yuxiu returned home to live, Yu Wenshuan temporarily slept in a small compartment. Lying on the cramped wooden bed, Yu Wenshuan had to start thinking about his future housing problems due to the pressure of reality. If the unit can immediately allocate housing for him after he joins the company, it's easy to say. If not, he will have to find a solution on his own. Currently, housing in various factories is extremely tight, and newly hired workers are generally not eligible for housing allocation. Fortunately, Yu Wenshuan's rank is high enough and he should have the qualification to allocate housing, but even if he does, he may not be able to solve it immediately. Time is short, how can he make do with it? If time drags on too long, he won't be able to wait. He has already switched jobs and returned home, and his fiancée Li Yuxiu has also graduated and started working. His old father has long been hoping for him to get married, and he will definitely make him hurry up and not let him drag on. Besides, he himself thinks the same way. With such a beautiful fiancée if we don't get married quickly, would he still have to guard his wife's 5 dragons and embrace the pillar? Regardless of the time and era, housing is a crucial issue for every family, and Yu Wenshuan must carefully consider and solve it well. Even if the unit can allocate a room for him, how many rooms will be allocated to him, and where will they be located? He also has to pick and choose. If he were given a house in a large courtyard, he would definitely not be satisfied. During this period, there were many shortcomings in the quadrangle courtyard, let alone the problem of multiple households living together. After accepting the memories of his predecessor, living in such an environment made it most difficult for him to adapt to heating and hygiene issues. Many people may believe that the most difficult thing for a modern person to adapt to in this era is undoubtedly hygiene issues. But after experiencing it firsthand, I will understand that the most difficult thing to adapt to is the winter heating problem, and hygiene issues still have to be ranked behind. Eating and wearing warm clothes is a basic human need. Only after meeting the most basic needs can hygiene and other needs be considered. During this period, the winter in Kyoto is very cold, with the coldest temperatures approaching -20 degrees Celsius. How can each household keep warm in such cold weather? There is only one coal ball furnace or honeycomb coal furnace. And there is only one in each family, not one in each room. I dare not put in too much effort to burn it like this, because the supply of coal is limited, and every household can buy it based on their own expenses. In the winter, there is not even a stove in the room, just like an ice cellar, which can be imagined how difficult it is. During this period, except for a few children with good physical condition, 9 out of 10 children have chilblains. In winter, you can just watch. One by one, the children's fingers are swollen like carrots, and some parts are frozen and rotten, but there is no way to treat them. They can only endure it until the weather warms up, and naturally they will recover. The original body has already adapted to this kind of life, but Yu Wenshuan, who comes from modern times, obviously cannot adapt. The cold that freezes into the bone marrow in my memory makes me feel chilly just thinking about it. He must solve the heating problem in winter no matter what. If there is no system, no matter how uncomfortable he is, he can only endure it, but with the system, he believes he must have a solution. If there is no other better way, after the shopping mall opens, at least he can buy more ignition coal. Of course, this is just the worst solution. The best solution is to be able to live in a building with heating supply in winter, but for now, this can only be a luxury. Whether it can ultimately be achieved will depend on the opening of the shopping mall. He stopped thinking about the future and began to organize his original small treasury. My original salary was high, but I didn't save much money. After careful sorting, the accurate figure is 875 yuan and 60 cents. In addition to cash, there are several other types of bills, but the quantity is also not large. The most important food ticket is only 13 pounds, which is his entire rations for the second half of the month. With these savings, according to the conditions of this era, they are already quite a lot, but considering his salary, this amount of money is really not much. Not saving much money is not because he spends money recklessly. He was originally a very frugal person, and his monthly personal expenses were not even worth 10 yuan. Where did all this salary go? The most expensive thing is donations. Most of his salary was donated to the families of his deceased comrades, those who had switched jobs or demobilized soldiers. If he had difficulties seeking help, he would also help. In addition to the biggest expense of this part, he has also remitted money to his family every month over the years. Yu Bingjiang's family has a heavy burden, with his eldest daughter and son getting married and spending a lot of money to support their 3 children's education. Even if his salary is not low, his monthly expenses are still very tight. Yu Wenshuan knew that his old father was not easy, and he had to remit 30 yuan to his family every month. After being betrothed to Li Yuxiu 4 years ago, I still had to remit 20 yuan to my fiancée Ae every month. After removing these, he can still save a little 1,000 yuan, which is not easy. Yu Wenshuan has already found a stable way to make money, and his original savings are just icing on the cake. The amount is no longer important. He checked his original savings in order to plan for buying a house in the future. If he can get his desired house after joining the company, that's great. If he can't get it, he may have to consider buying a private house. Buying a house is not easy at this time, and there are too many issues to consider. Without discussing anything else, he must first prepare the money for buying a house. With his original savings and the money he spent selling fish today, he now has 1,000 yuan. If he wants to buy the house he likes, it may not be enough. In the future, he will have to earn more money. The next day, Yu Wenshuan woke up early and went out for a run, followed by several punches without moving. After breakfast, when his family went to work and school, he picked up his things and prepared to go see his elder sister. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Family conflict caused by half a pound of preserved meat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Family conflict caused by half a pound of preserved meat. Sister Yu Wenjing graduated from girls' high school and is considered a knowledgeable woman among her peers. It is precisely because of her education that she was able to enter the street office for work. Although she is only a clerk, she is also a skilled worker. Big brother. In law Wang Zhansheng is an electrician and a worker at the first parts factory. He is a colleague of Yu Wenxuan's father and big brother. Although Wang Zhansheng is the only son in the family, he is a steady down-to-earth person. Yu Bingjiang saw this in him and was willing to marry his eldest daughter to him. Yu Wenxuan is away from home all year round and doesn't know much about his elder sister's current life, but his father said that she is living a happy life now. Our family has a simple population, and all three of our older sisters have already married. Currently, only one of our younger sisters is still in school, and there are no conflicts among our peers. The source of income is also very stable, with 3 working people in the family earning high salaries, and only Yu Wenjing's sister. Law and mother. Law are the only 2 who have leisure time, so the burden is not heavy. Yu Wenxuan was quite pleased that his sister could have such a good home and live in a harmonious family. But he didn't know that at this moment, in what he believed to be a harmonious family, his sister was being scolded harshly by his mother. Law. I don't think you've ever thought about these good days. You took this half-pound of cured meat, what will my grandson eat in the future? Do you think my grandson is so thin that he only has a handful of bones left? Can he not supplement some nutrition? Besides, you're already 4 months pregnant, so you need to eat something good. Although you are pregnant with a girl, at least you are also a member of our old Wang family. We can't afford to owe you anything. The old lady looks like I'm for you. Yu Wenjing pursed her lips in secret. The old lady always speaks well, and if she really believed it, she would be a fool. Moreover, she is only 4 months pregnant, and as a mother, she doesn't even know what she is pregnant with. Unfortunately, the old lady thinks this pregnancy is a daughter. Since the old lady found out that she was pregnant, it has been 2 months now. I haven't seen the old lady say a word of concern in these 2 months, let alone specially give her something good to eat. The old lady found this reason, but it's not enough to move her grandson out. Surprisingly, she said it was for her. The more the old lady spoke, the more she felt justified, and her scolding became louder. The whole family only saved half a pound of cured meat from between their teeth. This meat can only be eaten by my grandson, and I won't give it to anyone. You want to secretly take it back to your parents' house, there's no way. Why in your mouth, I've become a thief. I'm not asking for your opinion. Without your consent, would I dare to take it? When encountering such a stingy old lady, Yu Wenjing felt that she was really unreasonable. Since it's asking for my opinion, I'll tell you, I don't agree. Yu Wenjing took a deep breath and tried to calm down her tone. If it were another time, I would specify not to take the meat back to my mother's house. Isn't this a special situation? My second brother has loved my braised pork belly since he was young, and he mentioned it last time when he came back. Coincidentally, our family's meat had run out, and he came back in a short time. He left in just 2 days. My younger brother just thought a little, but I didn't even satisfy him at this point. Yu Wenjing's eyes involuntarily turned red, and 2 lines of tears streamed out in an instant. She continued to choke and said, "It has been 11 years since my second brother joined the army and fought. Despite being surrounded by gunfire and bullets, I don't know how he survived. After so many years, I finally want to get together. I will give him half a gene of bacon to make him an unorthodox braised pork belly. Is that too much? Even if you don't consider him the second uncle of a child, he is still a hero who defends his country and has shed blood and suffered injuries for the country and the people. Shouldn't we give up half a pound of preserved meat? Once again, this is already a matter of reciprocity. 4 years ago, my second younger brother came back and gave your grandson a 10 yuan gift to meet him. If it were bought as meat, not to mention a meal, it would be enough to eat in a month. He will also come to see you when he returns this time. My second younger brother has always been generous, so he definitely buys a lot of things. It's not wrong for these relatives to have contact with each other. What kind of gift will I see you give back then? Before my second brother came to the door, if I take my husband's meat back to my mother's house to make him a braised pork belly, even if our return gift is a little lighter, it will not be too ugly. Besides, the meat tickets for the first half of the month are ready to be used, at most for the next 1 or 2 days. If you want to supplement nutrition for your grandson and me, a pregnant woman, it's not short of these days. The old lady didn't listen to anything else, but when Yu Wenjing said that his second brother was generous, she listened. For years ago, his second uncle visited his child's house, and not only did he buy things for the elderly couple, but he also gave the child a 10 yuan meeting gift, which was truly a big deal. If the daughter-in-law fulfills his uncle's many years of aspirations this time, the young man may be even more generous when he is happy. Considering this, the old lady no longer intends to stop her. She was about to speak when suddenly a loud voice came from outside. "Is Auntie at home? I came to see you." This voice is quite unfamiliar. The old lady didn't recognize who the person was. But upon hearing this sound, Yu Wenjing stood up and hurriedly ran out, his voice trembling as he ran, asking, "Is it Wenshuan? Have you come to Wenshuan?" Seeing the older sister pushing the door out with tears on her face, Yu Wenshuan was deeply moved. My predecessor had a deep relationship with my elder sister. After losing her mother at the age of 9, my elder sister took care of me in my daily life, and I have been very dependent on her since childhood. "Sister, I came to see you. Why didn't you go to work today?" Yu Wenshuan saw the tears on the elder sister's face and thought they were tears of joy and excitement. He had no idea that the elder sister had just been arguing with her mother-in-law over him. "Yesterday someone told me you were back, so I took a day off to go see you. Fortunately, I came out early, otherwise we would have missed it. Is Auntie at home? Let me take a look at Grandpa and Auntie, are they both healthy?" The old lady is a little-footed and moves slower than the average person. When she speaks, she also welcomes her out and happens to answer the conversation. "His second uncle is here, come in quickly. Your uncle and I are in good health. Take a look at you. Come and visit us as soon as we come back, it will take up a lot of time. We are real relatives, so you don't have to be so polite." The old lady's gaze swept over the big and small bags held by Yu Wenshuan's hands, and her smile became even more friendly. "You are an elder. Isn't it appropriate for you to come and see me? I can't be afraid of wasting my time." Entering the hall and handing the things in his hand to the elder sister, Yu Wenshuan said to the old lady, "I came in a hurry and didn't buy anything good. 2 big carp were caught by myself from the river, and 1 cured duck was smoked by someone I entrusted in northeast China. I also changed my elder sister and brother-in-law into military uniforms, but I'm not sure if they fit well. I'll ask them to try them out later. If they don't fit well, I'll have to trouble you to make some changes." End of this chapter.